Welcome to Personal Finance with George. Today we have George Sourris from Empire Legal in the studio. George helps thousands of Queenslanders get into their property every year and are some of the best in the industry. Today he's going to give us some insight on what to do and what to look out for when buying property in Queensland. George, welcome.
Hey George, thanks for having me.
So, let's treat this as if I'm a buyer. What are some things that I should look out for when going to buy a property in Queensland?
Okay, good question. There's a few things that you need to watch out for as a buyer, and it all relates to having the right people in your corner. So, for example, let's start with finance. That's a big one. You need to have your ducks in a row with your money. You need to know what's your borrowing capacity, get a pre-approval in place. What does that look like? You want to talk to a banker or a broker. Someone that you trust, that you can sit down with and know exactly how much money you can borrow. Because there's no point coming to all these open homes and looking at all these properties online and then finding that it's out of your price range. It's a waste of everybody's time.
Cool. So obviously it's important to have a broker or banker. Also, you're not wasting the seller's time. You really want to present yourself in a way which is fullest and latest and putting your right foot forward.
Well, that's true, but also your time. Like, it gets tiring going to open homes every single Saturday, and you see all these other shoes at the front door, and you need to work out, am I in with a shot in this property? And that involves not only the finance. Most people know where they sit with their finance before they go to buy a house. The other things you need to look out for is say building and pest. Like, what does this property look like? Is there termites, or has there been termites? Has there been water damage? Are there things in here that are going to affect the value of your property? You don't want any nasty surprises later on where you're in for a bathroom renovation, 30 grand, or termite treatment, high value cost that you wish you knew on day one. So you need to see if there's a report with that property already that the seller's provided, or ideally get your own building and pest inspector through.
Yeah, and given that the markets have been hot, we have seen that people have been foregoing these special conditions in order to buy these properties. Is there something else that they should look into?
Yes, so standard terms in a REIQ or a Real Estate Institute of Queensland contract, which is the ones that we see every day of the week when we're buying and selling, is finance and building and pest. Absolutely, you'll see properties where the seller is not open to finance clause or a building and pest inspection because they've got half a dozen cash buyers lined up that are going to put in an attractive offer. So if you want to compete with these guys, you've got to line everything up in advance, which is a good lead into the lawyer. So we help people buy properties all the time across the state, and we have a process where we look over the contract for them for free for a standard contract, and we'll actually pick apart the proposed terms and look at all the T's and C's and the legal jargon in the background to make sure that you understand what you're signing. And two, we do a few checks over the property as well. So we actually have a service where we do a property check, and that will come back with things like, is this a heritage listed building? Is there flooding over the property? Is there a stormwater drain going across the backyard and this is your dream property and you want to put a pool in? Well, sorry George, you can't put a pool in because there's a stormwater drain there. You want to make sure the guys in your corner put all these cards on the table for you so that you know what you're in for. It's a very different story to sell if you get this house under contract and you've competed with all these other guys at the open home and you paid all this money, and then you find out, oh, you can't do this extension on this dream property. It's no longer a dream property, is it? And also, you're probably going to point fingers going, well, why didn't anybody tell me this? So that's what we do. That's how we help our clients, is we make sure you understand what you're in for and give you as much information as possible so that you can make a good decision.
Brilliant. Well, I think there's some really gold nuggets that we took out of today. Thanks for your time. I know you guys have got a lot out of it. Next week we have a video introducing Vasily from Property Check, and they're a retail offering for people who are looking to do these checks on their property. So as always, thanks again for your time, George. Always go back to your accountants, your financial planners and your lawyers to get the right advice for your personal circumstances.